Maiden Queen of the Mountains, the true story of a real woman of power, Kurmandjan Datka. The wind howled through the towering peaks of the Alai Mountains like a warning, but Kurmandjan Datka did not flinch. Clad in traditional tribal dress against the often below-zero cold, her face weathered and proud, she stood at the edge of the cliff where once, 10,000 years ago, legend held that on that very spot did the most ancient goddess of fire, Anna, gently melt the frozen soil with her primal fire. Not the fire of destruction, but the woman's hearth fire, strong, bright, steady, enduring, life-saving. As a child, Kurmandjan had learned the lore of Anna, the first mother who watched over women and warriors, the goddess of infinite age who lit the flame of life in every child's first breath, source mother energy, who wrapped each newborn in her blanket of warmth, protecting her from the biting cold of the windswept Alai. Like the women of her family, Kurmandjan still honored her goddess. She still carried the sacred spark of within her breast and belly. It was said that wherever Kurmandjan walked, the hearths of the people stayed lit. Wherever she spoke, the fire in their spirits rose and burned brightly. But death was coming to this sacred ground, and Kurmandjan, like the goddess before her, would protect it with all she had. Born in 1811 in what is now southern Kyrgyzstan, she would enter this life as an infant girl in a Muslim and male-dominated world, expected to be silent, obedient, hard-working, and invisible. But Kurmandjan was also born under the sign of the fiery lioness, and her mother said she came into the world during a thunderstorm, eyes wide open, fists clenched and pounding her swaddling clothes. A daughter of fire to melt the storm and snows, they said. Of her own power, and with the fire of goddess within, yes, she would become this for the ages. As a young girl, she was taken to a hermit fortune teller living in a cave. In this land of Anna, fortunes were often told by fire, meanings and portents interpreted by old divining wise women, by the way the smoke spiraled, the flame flickered, and the shadows danced on the walls. Fire divination was considered the direct message from goddess herself. And this time, the diviner told her, "One day, you will be worth more than 10 sons." Like all girls of her world, her marriage at 15 was arranged by men. But upon meeting her would-be husband, she took an immediate dislike to the boy, deeming him to be an idiot, refusing to be married off to a dimwit. She fled from her family. Unthinkable! Something no girl or even adult woman would dare do. But it was not so much about who he was, but rather who she refused to become. A submissive follower, a woman whipsawed by the expectations of her world. His name is long forgotten. Her choice to step into her lioness power is the legend that endures. Alone, she trekked through the brutal snowy highlands, but not truly alone, for she felt Ana with her. An inner fire warmed her belly, kept her going. Kurmandjan would return years later, not to bow, but to lead. Her eventual marriage to a good man, a powerful Khan and tribal leader named Alimbek Datka, was remarkable for the time and culture, one of partnership, not submission. He recognized her mind. He appreciated her strength. He openly admired her unmatched grasp of tribal law, foreign affairs, and war strategy. He was assassinated, but instead of retreating to mourn in silence, as was custom, Kurmandjan picked up the Khan mantle, and the men, hardened by bloody war and freezing mountain winters, felt her female power and bowed to her, believing that the fire of goddess Ume that crackled in her belly would keep them warm, come what may. Her soldiers called her Datka, a title reserved for rulers and generals, not a wife, not a consort, a commander, a queen, a maiden queen, whole unto herself, as she was from the beginning, needing no man to complete her, only the fire of goddess within. Like Boudica infuriated the Romans, the men of the Russian Empire could not bear a powerful woman leading rebellion. They came for her, muskets loaded, treaty documents dripping with deceit. Kurmandjan stood between invaders and her people, a mountain cave lioness shielding her cubs. In the end, though, she did not delude herself with dreams of conquest. She was a realist, but never a coward. She was an Amazon, a maiden queen. She was not afraid of war, but she was afraid for her people of the suffering and death the Russians would surely deal. Rather than wage that final war she knew would annihilate her tribe forever, she brilliantly negotiated. She strategically endured. She sacrificed her own pride to preserve the lives, the land, the language of the Kyrgyz people. This was her revolution, resistance through survival. But they tested her. The Russians arrested her sons, executed one, invited her to watch. They expected to break her. Her men urged her to arrange a rescue, but it was not to be. She attended her son's ritual murder, standing tall, spine straight, stoic, silent. Afterwards she said, "If I weep, it is not for his death, but for the weakness of men who fear a woman's power." They called her the Tsaritsa of a lie. They called her the Maiden Queen. They called her Enye, mother, not just of children, but of a nation, of hope, of courage forged in snow and fire, in blood, and in her lineage of woman. Until her death in 1907, Kurmandjan endured against empire, against despair, against the myth that a woman must be small to survive. They made statues to her. They put her image on currency. They made an award-winning film about her inspiring life. In the stories passed down by hearth and campfire, they say she still walks the mountain paths of the Alai range with the spirit of Ume Ana burning in her belly. They say when she speaks, the rivers change course. They say when she passes by, the snow holds its breath. When the wind howls through the peaks, the elders say, that is the voice of Kurmandjan Datka, reminding us to keep our belly fire stoked and to bend so as not to break. Her legacy continues to burn in the hearts of the Kyrgyz women yet today. Embodying the four powers of woman, the maiden with her fearless courage, the mother with her labor and sacred sacrifice, the queen guiding and serving her people, the wise woman bending so as not to break, a wonder woman not of fantasy or myth, a real woman of goddess power, of grit and grace, a maiden queen and a lioness who roars to us yet across the centuries for all the women of the world. And we did a Google archive photo search, Kurmandjan holding the red thread of woman's wisdom, and this ancient photo from the previous century came up, some random unidentified women there. Let us say 3 times together in honor of this great woman, all hail Kurmandjan Datka, all hail Kurmandjan Datka, all hail Kurmandjan Datka. It is so, and so it is. Blessed be.